Peace, greetings. So, let me get straight to it. I was on the Twitter board tweeting just a minute ago about money and about the metaphysics pertaining to money, as far as how people put emotional attachments on money, and they feel like money is power. Like if I got like if I say, for instance, if I got a pocket full of money, I feel like I'm in power. However, if I don't really have a lot of money, I feel like I'm powerless. So I was just kind of building on the Twitter board real quick about how it's not the money that gives you power, it's how you spend it, it's what you do with the money, essentially, that gives you the ultimate power. Um, I got into this whole metaphysics of money thing. Really, this is what really inspired me to even start teaching metaphysics, because like a lot of people don't know my background, but like I'm a dude, I came pretty much, like came from off the street, just like, a lot of so-called black males out there. And, I mean, I've pretty much had my hand in a little bit of everything, in the streets. However, my primary source of income on the streets was, peddling clothes, jewelry, and media and things of that nature, just to keep it all the way real with you. So like that's my background, and that's where I came from. So and in that, I kind of picked up an emotional attachment for like having money. You know what I'm saying? Like money on me, and just used to having money and things of that nature. And I kind of went through something to where at that time where I kind of like lost my hustle due to some outside situations that took place that I'm not really trying to go too much into here on this video, but I had some outside situations that took place to where I was forced to stop doing this thing. And I could have kept doing it, but I kind of just let the negative fears overcome me, and I kind of like just kind of got out of this thing. But really, what it really truly was that I knew that I had like all of this knowledge in me, and like I used to be like on the streets hustling and things of that nature. But then at the same time, I would be dropping knowledge to people, because like I was a vegan doing this stuff. Like I was hustling and things of that nature, like as a vegan. So like I was different from like most street dudes that because like I was a street dude that would try to drop a jewel on you here and there. But then I was still doing my thing. Like I mean, like I said, I've had my hand in several different things. So when I stopped doing it or whatever, got to a place. I mean, I hit rock bottom. Like I became homeless, and many people have heard me talk about that on YouTube in depth. But you didn't really ever get a chance to see the other side. And the other side to this whole backpacker thing and being homeless thing was like you talking to a guy that made $500-600 a day. Like I know what it feels like to make. I mean, that's not a lot of money to a lot of people, but to me, I mean, that was a lot of money. Like I know what it feels like to make $500-600 a day. And then I got witnesses, like shout out to my man Jay and different people like that out there, both Jays actually. Shout out to my man D, V, and all those different people that may still be out there. But like I got witnesses, to bear me witness to this. However, like I kind of like lost it all, you know what I'm saying? And I was homeless, and I think I lost it all and was homeless because it was something, I had a deeper treasure in me. I had a deeper jewel in me, and something in me that basically like a life path that I was on, and something that I was supposed to be doing, and doing this whole hustling thing that wasn't going to get me on my life path and into my life purpose. And that's what I want to kind of cover on this video. So in that, I was always into the occult. I was always into metaphysics, and my man D, he had hit me on to this information about the Necronomicon, which was inspired by H.P. Lovecraft and a few other people. But it's a long story behind the Necronomicon. I'm not going to go into that here, but he was like, yeah, you should check the Necronomicon out. So I got into the Necronomicon and got to researching and studying it, and got into Aleister Crowley and things of that nature. And then I know a lot of people, if you like Christian or or different religious people, don't agree with Aleister Crowley, and they say he's evil and pagan. And I mean, you guys know by now, like I do these videos for people that are totally out the box, man. Like I do these videos for like all the Neos out there and all the Morpheus out there, people that's trying to break free from all this programming. Like all this religious stuff is nothing but programming. So I'm not knocking your religion if that's what you do, But I'm just saying, like, as far as these videos, I'm here, for the small select few, the 5% nation, as we used to call it on the street. Like out of all the population, there's only going to be 5% that's going to be conscious. So that's my philosophy. So if you're dealing with 100,000 people, out of that 100,000 people, it's only going to be 5,000 that's conscious. So that's who I do it for. So back to the point. So I get into this and I found out about this hidden treasure ritual. And I'm like, I'm about to try this thing out. And in this hidden treasure ritual, you work with this being named Ziku. And Ziku is used in a lot of metaphysical books as an interpreter of metaphors. Ziku is a person that, or entity, and it's more of a masculine entity, by the way, because money and all that system of money and economics is actually patriarchal. So this is why you have to deal with the male entity to understand it. However, Ziku, he essentially interprets things for you. He breaks down things for you, help you to understand things that may be metaphysical and metaphorical from a literal perspective. That's the original meaning of Ziku. However, H.P. Lovecraft worked with Ziku and incorporated the energies of Ziku into what's called a hidden treasure ritual. And I talk about this in depth on my site. I actually have this. It's called the money ritual on my site. I don't call it the hidden treasure ritual, but it's the same thing. It's the money ritual, hidden treasure ritual. And like we give you a video breaking all this stuff down about how this ritual works. But I just kind of want to make this stuff public because I don't mind putting myself out there as an occultist and let you know, like, this is where I'm going to get at to prove to you that this ritual works in a second. But so I got into working with Ziku, and I was down and out. I was down in Florida. I was homeless. I was sleeping on the streets with possums and rats and sleeping behind abandoned buildings. And I went from making $500-$600 a day to asking for money in front of gas stations. I'm just keeping it real with you. This is where I was at. And however, I was studying, like, during my free time though, and this is where the hidden treasure thing comes in at. Like, I was studying astrology, and I was studying finance, and I was studying social media and how social media works, and I had a lot of free time to study a lot of things. So I'm thankful for those times. Don't get me wrong. And don't get me wrong too. A lot of people took care of me during those times, and they was like, "You're gonna make it somewhere." I remember it was this one particular European chick that gave me like $20 one time when I was out there, because I didn't have to stand out there for a long period of time asking for money, because I was working with the energies within myself. So few minutes, people, like, I'd be out there 15, 20 minutes. I got enough to eat, maybe get a hotel every other day or something like that, just for asking for change, because the people took care of me like that during that time when I was down in Orlando, Florida. And shout out to all my people from Orlando, Florida, because you guys took care of me during that time. So when I was down there in Orlando, Florida during that time, like, I was able to, study and get into, like, this metaphysics thing on a whole deeper level. Like, I was, like, studying metaphysics the way a college student would be studying calculus. Like, I was into this thing. Like, I was knocking out 2, 3, 4 books a day. And then you got to remember that even when I was in my hustling days, in the days I told you about prior to my homeless days, I was doing the same thing. You see, like, I was studying, like, when I had my free time, like, I'd take days off and just be reading books on metaphysics and spirituality. Like, some people would be out messing with the girls, going to parties and things of that nature. And I did a little of that, but for the most part, I was studying metaphysics. Like, I was hip to the Necronomicon before I got homeless. So when I became homeless, that just gave me more opportunity to dive deeper into it, because I was ready to start teaching it. So I was, like, getting ready and prepared to teach, and that's why I had to go through that phase, I believe. So, make a long story short, I started working with the energies of Ziku and changed my life. Within, I'll say, 3 months, I went from being homeless to working on the internet, working on Twitter, working on YouTube, talking to people about spirituality and metaphysics, and people started to listen. And this is because people call it the money ritual, and they use Ziku to work and try to get money. Like, say for instance, you could work with Ziku and find like $200 on the street, which actually happened to me. When I first did the ritual, when I was stuck in Orlando, Florida, I found $200, and that's how I got up to Indianapolis. And shout out to the particular sister that took care of me, Oya. I call her Oya, that helped, and she helped take care of me. And I conjured her up through the ritual. Like after I did this ritual, all this stuff started happening. So Oya was like, yo, like you can come live with me. I'm feeling the whole astrology thing. Help you get on your feet, and she helped me get on my feet. I'm keeping it real, you know what I'm saying? So I mean, I don't, make no bones about those particular people that helped me. Even though we may have our disagreements now, you did what you did, and may the ancestors always be with you. So, but I attributed all of it to me working with the energies of myself and doing this ritual. So I find $200, jump on the bus. I think she may have sent me like $50 or something like that, or $100 or something like that. Help me get on the bus, get some food in my belly. Now I got a place to stay. I ain't on the streets no more. So then I start 13 Signs Astrology. As far as I copyrighted the trade name. I didn't start the website there, but I copyrighted the trade name up in Indianapolis. Had a little bit of money to do that, thanks to me doing this ritual or whatever. And I went from that to jumping on Twitter, jumping on Blog Talk Radio, and people, luckily started to listen. And I mean, I'm just thankful for how it went, because I mean, I went from a homeless man on the streets to a person now that has over 1 million clicks on YouTube. And it's truly a blessing, man. Like truly a blessing. But I'm gonna tell you the dark side to it now in a minute, though, because there's a dark side to the ritual, and I didn't even know this. And this is what I want to talk about. There's a dark side to this ritual. So the ritual paid off. Went from that to staying in hotels, staying in the Georgia Terrace down in Atlanta, Georgia, staying in suites up in the Georgia Terrace, $200 a night, $300 a night, all off of teaching people metaphysics. Keep in mind, like I wasn't hustling no more, so I'm totally happy. Like I'm doing what I want to do and things of that nature, and I'm totally happy, and money's rolling in and all of that, and but I got tested because I found out that once you do this ritual after a certain period of time, and they don't tell you this in the book. And here's the seal, by the way. This is the seal that you use to do the ritual with. But they don't tell you this. But once you do the ritual, it's a test on the back end of that. And I went through a test. And I'm going through it. I'm coming out of that test right now as we speak. And I went from making all this money teaching metaphysics to back to rock bottom again. Back to being a backpacker again. Because in me making all of this money and doing all of these things, what I didn't know was that there were dark beings and dark lords out there that saw what I was doing, so they began to set up and put taxes on you, boy. Like, I mean, because I'm a king, so, they like tax the kings or whatever, and the queens out there. And I'll shout out to all my different kings and queens, celebrities, and royalty out there that know what I'm talking about. But they saw that money I was making and start putting taxes on you, boy, putting mortgages on my head, burying me, putting mind control on me, having me to run my business in a way to where I wasn't as productive as possible because of different things that people were telling me, and I kind of fed into it. And this is because I wasn't feeding Ziku. And this is what I found out. You have to continue to feed this entity. And they don't tell you this. When I say feed, you feed with your energy. You feed him by chanting. You feed him by constantly reviewing the ritual and going back over the ritual and even doing the ritual again. You can actually do this ritual once a year, believe it or not. But I mean, I just kind of like was on autopilot and felt like, man, I came out of the situation. Now I'm just going to try to use my knowledge to continue to make it. But nah, I mean, I'm a spiritual guy, and I'm going to call this. And I know that if I don't know anything else, that the spiritual forces have a mind of their own. And you might think that you're doing one thing, and you might think that your knowledge alone, I guess is what I'm saying, is going to get you to the next level, when there's ethers that govern money. There's certain ethers that govern money, and you have to have a thorough knowledge of money if you want to make it to being what's called wealthy. In the hidden treasure ritual, see, it's called a big money ritual. There's different money rituals I have on my site. Some of them are for just quick, immediate money. That's a separate subject. But the hidden treasure ritual is for someone who is trying to become wealthy. And there's a difference between being rich and wealthy. See, when you have treasure, you're wealthy. And a wealthy person knows how to spend their money. They know when to spend their money. where to spend their money, who to spend their money with, how to share their money. You can't get unless you give. But then at the same time, you can't give without receiving. So it's a certain way you got to work this thing when it comes to economics and things of that nature. So that's why I tell a person just starting out. I mean, I could do whole classes on this, and I don't really have a lot of time because I don't want to make this video long at all, and I'm fitting to shut down. But I'll just tell a person like this. If you really want to, I guess, become wealthy, and you really want to master economics, you should study the origins of money, the history of money, things of that nature, how it comes about, like where does money come from? And I'm not just saying like based off of somebody just printing the money, but what is the medium and the basis of money? And I mean, I've done videos talking about this before, but these are the things that you need to study and get into before you even get into doing money rituals. And then even after you do your money ritual, you got to go back and study the concept of money in general. Because those people out there that are investors know it's how you spend the money is what's going to determine how much you make. It's who you pay. Say, for instance, if you own a business, it's who you paying to do your services for you, which is going to determine what you get back. You see, like what I mean by that is that you can go out here and pay somebody to fix up your house that don't really know what they're doing, but they might charge a cheap price, and you're gonna have a cheap job. You're gonna have a cheap outcome, and that project is gonna turn out to be bullshit because you paid the wrong person. Whereas if you had went and spent a little bit more money, paid the right people, and did it right, that's gonna increase the equity of whatever it is that you fixing up of your real estate. So that's what I mean about is how you spend it. You see, some people, they just attached to just having things, and some people are attached to just spending money too at the same time, to where they just spend money all willy-nilly and not even thinking about like what company are you spending money with? Where's this company owned from? You got to get into understanding and spending money with people that resonate with your spirit or your energy, because it'll come back to you. You see, like I'm not going to go out here and spend money at a restaurant that sells a bunch of meat knowing I'm a vegetarian. That's just giving you an example. Now, I'm not knocking, people that eat meat and things of that nature, but I'm just saying for me, my energy works on that level, so I'm trying to go with a more holistic place. So, I mean, no. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I do hit up the Burger King, get the veggie burgers and stuff like that. I'm just keeping it all the way real, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, I'm going to spend my money with a quality like more times than not. I'm going to invest my money as far as like food and things of that nature into grocery stores and things of that nature that pride themselves on catering to the vegetarian versus just someone that's just out here selling meat, not really selling clean food and things of that nature. So that's me. It's how you spend it. And that's what I mean about, putting your money into the right places and things of that nature. So that's pretty much essentially how I got, to where I'm at with this channel. It all came through me doing this hidden treasure ritual, and it's definitely something, in the future you can actually check out the Necronomicon books. I don't think this book here has the cover to it, but because it's kind of like old, but it's by Simon, and this is the Necronomicon spell book, and this is essentially where I got the ritual from, just keeping it all the way real with you. So for those people that, you don't want to trust in me and you want to get it from the horse's mouth, you can get it straight from the horse's mouth. Aleister Crowley, H.P. Lovecraft, and Simon. I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. That's what it's all about. Spend it right.